Okay, let's face it, this aircraft model has a minimal livery and Herpa has put even less effort into the model itself. So why on earth should any collector spend any time, let alone money on this? Well, maybe not many, but for a few out there this model might be ideal. And why that is, we'll find out right after the drop. So with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A350-900 of China Eastern. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of that we have the China Eastern branding. The back side of the box then gives us another cutout and just in general follows the really dreadful box design of Herpa Wings, so let's not waste any more time on that. Let's focus on the model itself. And here she is, the Airbus A350-900 in the current standard livery of China Eastern Airlines. Now this aircraft model was made from Herpa Wings back in 2020, but apart from a minimal livery, does it have anything real of substance to offer collectors? Well, that is what we want to find out in this review. And we do that by taking a closer look at it, starting off with the tail section where we on the vertical stabilizer have the China Eastern Airlines branding. Then on the fuselage we have the full registration code of the aircraft, we have the aircraft type specification, and on top of the fuselage we do find a set dome has been added, looking quite lovely here. Furthermore, we have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust at the very tail of the aircraft. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then find the writing of China Eastern, both in simplified Chinese and in English writing. We do also have a SkyTeam logo of which the airline is a member. In fact, we actually have two of them, a larger one just behind the cockpit windows and then a small one next to the cabin doors. And the reason why I have time to tell you all this is because, well, there just aren't any other details here that are worth mentioning. No static ports, no sensors, nothing, just plain white. And it doesn't get much better for the cockpit section itself, where we have the cockpit windows with the typical A350 black mask around the windows, and we have the window wipers printed on. We do also have the emergency hatch for the cockpit printed on, however I do think this is slightly misplaced. When we move on to the engine nacelles, we can notice they have been kept in, surprisingly, a light grey color, since the fuselage has been kept mostly in white. But we do have a silver leading edge printed on, but that is also the only printed detail we'll find at these engines. However, the physical detailing of them is actually, I think, quite alright, especially here from the front, very nice. You can see the engine fan blades. And from the engine nacelles we can move on to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side where we have the different flap slats and spoilers carved out quite nicely. We do also have the marking as to where to walk on the wing and the full registration code of the aircraft, and on the other side we find the name of the airline in simplified Chinese. Now on the underside of the wing we have more nice physical detailing, and again the combination of the full registration code and the name of the airline in simplified Chinese. The A350 wings also have these nicely rounded winglets with, in this case, the logo of China Eastern Airlines, and I think overall Herpa has done a fairly decent job with that part of the aircraft. Then we have the landing gear, which is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all the Airbus A350-900 aircraft models, which I think overall looks quite alright. The main landing gear just fine. Also the front landing gear overall I think quite alright, except for the fact that we are missing printed details. On the belly of the aircraft we then find a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which of course is not included with this aircraft model, making it really rather pointless, but at least it doesn't destroy any printed details. I mean, it would have been difficult on this aircraft model, to be honest. And then finally, and at least we do have that, we find the doors to the cargo compartments have been printed on here at the back of the aircraft and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A350-900 in the current standard livery of China Eastern Airlines from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500, and what can we say about this aircraft model? I mean, okay, it's not Herpa's fault that the China Eastern Airlines livery basically has nothing to offer and is pretty much the most boring thing I at least have ever come across on an aircraft model. But what Herpa has to owe up to is the fact that they have put next to nothing or basically zero effort into this aircraft model themselves. The only part where Herpa perhaps stands a tiny little bit out with this this aircraft model are the wings. The rest is as basic as it can be. But we of course know that when Herpa is given a very easy job with delivery, it doesn't mean that they then put a little bit more effort into the model itself. Why would they? They can just sell the model at retail price and then just cash in on it. So why on earth am I showing you this model? Well, quite easy. Because it is a terrible aircraft model, it has hardly sold, which means there are still plenty of retailers out there with this model in stock, and you can get it for around like 20 euros. 20 euros is already pretty much the maximum this model is worth, but just around that price you can get it for. And mind you, firsthand, and given that there is barely any livery on this aircraft model, there isn't much that needs to be removed, and voila, you have a completely white A350. Perfect for anyone who wants to make a custom A350. This is the model to get. And quite frankly, this is the reason why I wanted to show you this aircraft model. Have you ever made a custom model? Let me know in the comment section below. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. I'm checking out, and bye.